Welcome to our deep dive into Hermitage wine.
Hermitage.
Yeah, we've got all these materials that you sent over just titled Hermitage.
Right.
So we're going to dive into all that and really uncover what makes this wine, so special.
Yeah.
It's a prestigious French wine, but obviously it's not just about the grapes.
Well,
It's about the history, the people, the land, everything.
that's what's so fascinating about Hermitage
Yeah.
is that history is so intertwined with it.
Okay.
It's got centuries of tradition. I mean,
Uh-huh.
we're talking Roman emperors,
Yeah.
medieval monks.
Okay, now you've got my attention, Roman emperors, huh?
Yeah,
So I'm picturing togas and feasts and lavish parties flowing with Hermitage wine.
exactly.
Gets the story there.
Well, imagine those vineyards, clinging to the steep slopes along the Rhone River,
Yeah.
being cultivated as far back as the 1st century AD.
Wow.
So the Romans, they knew good wine.
They did.
And those slopes that we see today,
Yeah.
they're already there,
Yeah. Right.
creating that very iconic landscape.
So the Romans get the credit for the vineyards, but what about the name Hermitage?
That's where the monks come in.
Okay.
So after the Romans, you have these medieval monks who established hermitages,
Okay.
which are these solitary retreats up on this hill,
Right.
and hence the name Hermitage.
Gotcha.
And of course, the monks, alongside prayer and contemplation,
Of course.
they devoted themselves to crafting wine.
I knew those monks were onto something good.
They were smart.
But so how did this wine go from like a humble monastic endeavor to this prestigious drink we know today?
Well, their dedication to quality really paid off because by the 18th century,
Wow.
Hermitage wine was highly sought after by royalty
Really?
across Europe.
Wow.
It even earned a Cru designation in the 19th century,
Okay.
which is a mark of the highest quality.
Right.
So you see this reputation for excellence that goes back centuries.
That's amazing. Okay, so we've got a long, rich history.
Yes.
Prime location in the Rhone Valley. Crafted by monks, enjoyed by royalty. But let's get down to like the nitty-gritty.
Sure.
I know in your notes there was a bunch of stuff about this.
Yes.
What about terroir?
Terroir. Well, you can't talk about Hermitage without talking about terroir.
Right.
It really is the foundation of
Huh.
everything. And what makes Hermitage's terroir so special is its perfect synergy with the Syrah grape,
Okay.
which reigns supreme there.
Right.
So we're talking about the steep slopes, the unique soil, and the distinct climate,
Yeah.
all coming together to really create something exceptional.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of the hillsides and the vineyards,
Yeah.
and it's just fascinating to me how the land itself can actually shape the taste of a wine.
Well, let's talk about those slopes,
Okay.
because those south-facing slopes, they actually act like a natural amphitheater.
Oh, okay.
So it maximizes sun exposure for the Syrah grapes.
Okay.
And that ensures optimal ripeness, and that's really crucial for developing those rich and concentrated flavors that Hermitage is known for.
Yeah.
And because of that slope, you have excellent drainage.
Okay.
Prevents the vines from getting waterlogged, which Syrah is particularly sensitive to.
Oh, so it's not just for the view. The steepness is actually functional.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing it's not easy to work on.
No, it's all manual labor.
Oh, wow.
Very demanding work.
Right.
And that actually contributes to the exclusivity and value of Hermitage wines,
Interesting.
because every single bottle is really the result of dedicated, backbreaking effort.
So we're talking about a premium wine before we even get to the grapes.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so what about the soil? So we've got the steepness. What about the soil? What role does that play in shaping the character of Hermitage?
Well, the soil is primarily granite and schist,
Okay.
which is pretty unique. And granite, gives the wine this incredible backbone of minerality.
Okay.
You almost get this wet stone sensation on the palate.
Oh, interesting.
And the schist adds these intriguing floral aromas like violets,
Wow.
which contributes to the complexity of the wine.
So we've got sun-drenched slopes, we've got mineral-rich soil.
Yes.
And now I'm wondering about the climate.
Yes.
Does that also play a role in the Hermitage magic?
Oh, definitely. It's a continental climate with hot, dry summers.
Okay.
And that's perfect for ripening Syrah. But here's the kicker.
Okay.
They also have this wind called the Mistral wind,
Okay.
which is a powerful, dry, cold wind that sweeps through the region.
Oh, wow.
It's like nature's hairdryer for the grapes.
That's amazing.
It regulates the humidity, prevents rot, and it intensifies the flavors by concentrating the sugars in the grapes.
It's like the wind is actually helping to create the flavor.
It is.
That's so cool. So it seems like everything about Hermitage location is working in perfect harmony.
It is.
Now, I'm curious, you mentioned these climates of Hermitage.
Yeah.
So what exactly are climates?
Well, climates are these small, distinct plots of land within the appellation. So think of it like different neighborhoods in a city.
Okay.
They're all part of the same city, but each neighborhood has its own character, its own vibe.
I like that analogy.
Okay.
So even within this relatively small area, you have all these micro terroirs,
You do.
each producing wines with their own personality.
Exactly. And, for example,
Okay.
Le Pavillon is known for its granite soil and its intense sun exposure.
Okay.
And the wines from this climate are very powerful and age-worthy,
Wow.
built to last.
Okay.
Then you have L'Hermite, which has this mix of granite and schist,
Right.
producing wines known for their elegance and structure.
Okay.
And if you're looking for something a little bit softer and fruitier, you have Le Beaussard, which is a little bit lower down on the slope.
Gotcha.
So it's got more clay in the soil.
Interesting.
And then you have
So it's like a puzzle almost.
It is.
All these different climates fitting together to create this mosaic.
Exactly.
It is Hermitage.
The mosaic of Hermitage.
I'm loving this. So even within this one tiny appellation, you have this range of styles,
Yes.
all thanks to these subtle differences in the climate.
It's fascinating.
But before we move on, let's talk about the grape itself, Syrah.
Yeah.
We know it's the king, but are there any other grapes allowed in the blend?
Syrah definitely dominates. It makes up over 90%
Wow.
of the red wine production in Hermitage. But the appellation rules do allow for a small percentage of white grapes,
Interesting.
Marsanne and Roussanne, to be added to the blend.
Okay.
And they're typically used in very small amounts, but they contribute to the wine's complexity and balance.
So they're like the supporting cast,
Exactly.
adding depth and nuance to the Syrah star.
Yes.
I like it. But, we've been talking about these steep slopes and manual labor. It can't be easy to make Hermitage wine, right?
No, it's considered what they call a heroic terroir,
Okay.
meaning that it's exceptionally demanding.
Right.
First, you have the unpredictable climate.
Yeah.
You've got frost, you've got hailstorms.
Yeah.
You could have unexpected rain during harvest,
Oh, no.
which can jeopardize the whole crop.
Yeah.
And then there's the terrain.
Yeah.
It's not just harvesting, it's terracing the slopes.
Right.
Pruning the vines. It's all backbreaking work,
Wow.
which of course leads to high production costs.
So we're talking about history, challenging terroir, and then the dedication of the winemakers.
Exactly.
It makes you appreciate every sip.
You really do.
But, we've been focusing on the grapes and the land.
Right.
I want to follow those grapes on their journey to become a bottle of Hermitage.
Yes.
So what happens after they're harvested?
Well, that's when the magic of winemaking comes in.
Okay.
And in Hermitage, it's a really beautiful blend of tradition and innovation.
Okay.
Many winemakers still honor those ancient practices.
Yeah.
They use indigenous yeasts, open-top fermentation vessels,
Right.
an extended maceration period to really draw out those intense colors and tannins.
That's the romantic side of winemaking. I love that. Those traditions passed down.
Yes.
But are they embracing any new technologies in Hermitage?
Oh, absolutely. Many producers are incorporating modern techniques now
Okay.
for greater precision and control.
Yeah.
So you'll find temperature-controlled stainless steel tanks for fermentation,
Okay.
which allows them to really fine-tune that process.
Right.
They might use selected yeasts for predictability,
Okay.
so they can ensure a consistent quality year after year.
Right.
And when it comes to tannins,
Yeah.
some are opting for gentler extraction methods,
Okay.
which results in wines with more refined and approachable tannins.
It's like a dance between honoring the past and embracing the future.
It is.
But walk me through the key stages of the winemaking.
Okay.
What happens once the grapes are picked?
So first you have maceration.
Okay.
It was where the grape juice is basically hanging out with the skins for an extended period.
Okay.
Sometimes weeks. And this extracts, the color, the tannins, all those flavor compounds that give Hermitage its character.
Okay.
Then comes fermentation,
Right.
where the yeast converts sugar into alcohol,
Of course.
transforming the grape juice into wine.
Right.
And finally, many Hermitage wines undergo oak aging,
Okay.
typically in French oak barrels.
Yeah.
And this adds another layer of complexity,
Mm-hmm.
imparting those toasty, spicy notes that we associate with Hermitage.
Okay. I can practically smell it now.
Yes.
Oak aging always seems to add a touch of magic.
It does.
Now for the million-dollar question.
Okay.
What does a typical Hermitage wine taste like?
Well, imagine a powerful
Okay.
yet elegant red wine
Okay.
bursting with aromas of dark fruits like blackberry, blueberry, and cassis.
Nice.
And then you have these layers of spice.
Okay.
Think black pepper clove, maybe even a hint of smoke and leather.
Wow.
On the palate, it's full-bodied with firm tans
Okay.
that provide structure and a vibrant acidity
Okay.
that keeps everything in balance. It's a wine that demands attention.
It does sound incredible. I'm usually more of a Pinot Noir person,
Okay.
but now I'm kind of intrigued to try a Hermitage Syrah.
You should.
So that's the red, but what about the whites? Do they pack the same punch?
White Hermitage is a different beast altogether.
Okay.
It's a rich, complex wine bursting with aromas of lemon grapefruit,
Okay.
maybe some white flowers and honey notes.
Wow.
And remember that granite and schist in the soil?
Yeah.
Well, it comes through in the Rhine is this beautiful, pronounced minerality.
Oh, wow.
And they often have this lovely texture, too, almost oily in a good way,
Okay.
which adds to their complexity.
Okay. Now I need to try both the red and the white.
You do.
You've really painted a vivid picture here.
I try.
But Hermitage wines, I know, are famous for their aging potential.
Yes.
How long are we talking about?
Well, that's where the tannins and the acidity really come into play.
Okay.
Because Hermitage, especially the reds,
Yeah.
have phenomenal aging potential. We're talking decades.
Mm.
And as they age, the tannins soften.
Oh.
The fruit becomes more integrated.
Yeah.
And you start to get these amazing tertiary aromas.
Tertiary aromas.
Yeah, so as the wine ages, you'll start to notice these new aromas emerge.
Okay.
Things like leather tobacco, even forest floor.
Wow.
And these are called tertiary aromas.
Okay.
And they develop as the wine matures in the bottle.
So it's like a wine that keeps on giving.
It is.
I love that idea.
Yeah.
But who's behind these legendary bottles? Any names I should be looking out for?
Oh, absolutely. You've got iconic producers like Jean-Louis Chave,
Okay.
known for their elegant, complex wines that age like a dream.
Okay.
Their L'Hermite Cuvée is legendary.
Got a Jean-Louis Chave. Any others?
No, definitely Paul Jaboulet N.A.,
Okay.
another historic producer,
Okay.
renowned for their iconic wines like La Chapelle and Le Pavillon.
Got it. Okay.
And if you're interested in biodynamic practices,
Yeah.
Chapoutier is one to watch.
Okay, so that's 3 heavy hitters already. But I'm sure there are more hidden gems out there
Oh, there are plenty more.
in Hermitage.
Each producer brings their own style and philosophy
Right.
to their winemaking, so there's a whole world to explore there.
Okay, so to delve into those, we need to switch gears.
We do.
Ready to discover more about the world of Hermitage winemaking?
Absolutely.
All right, so you mentioned a whole world of other Hermitage producers to explore.
There are?
I'm ready to hear about some of these other winemakers
No.
and what makes their wines unique.
You've got Domaine Jean-Luc Colombo, for example.
Okay.
He's known for his rich, expressive wines.
Okay.
Definitely a more modern style of winemaker,
Right.
but with a deep respect for tradition.
Okay.
Then you have Domaine Marc Sorel,
Okay.
who's all about showcasing the purity of the terroir.
Okay.
So his wines are known for their elegance and their complexity.
So it sounds like there's really a Hermitage for every palate,
There is.
from powerful and age-worthy to elegant and complex.
Yes.
And everything in between.
Ex-
It's like choosing a favorite band.
It is. And speaking of accessible,
Okay.
you marked Ferraton Parenfils in your notes.
I did.
They're a great option if you're looking for wines that are maybe a bit more approachable.
Okay.
You know, they've been around for centuries.
Right.
And they produce a range of Hermitage wines that are delicious
Okay.
and well priced.
That's great to know because I've been looking for an excuse to explore Hermitage.
You should.
Okay, so we've covered history, we've covered the terroir, we even touched on the winemakers.
Yes.
I'm ready for the practical stuff.
Okay.
What should I be looking for when I'm actually shopping for Hermitage?
Good question.
Any tips?
Well, first things first, what style are you drawn to?
Okay.
You know, do you want something powerful, age-worthy,
Right.
or something a little bit lighter, fruitier?
Right.
Once you know your style, you can start narrowing down the choices by producer.
Makes sense.
And a little research can go a long way.
Okay.
You know, read reviews, talk to wine experts,
Yeah.
maybe check out some online forums.
Yeah.
Don't be shy about asking for recommendations.
So do your homework before hitting the wine shop.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay, but now let's talk price.
Yes,
We know Hermitage is prestigious,
it is.
often comes with a hefty price tag.
Yeah.
Am I going to need to take out a loan to buy a bottle?
Well, you won't find it in the bargain bin,
Okay.
but there is a range of prices available.
Okay.
You know, entry-level Hermitage wines
Yeah.
might be found for around $50 to $100.
Okay.
But for those iconic bottles from producers like Chauve or Jaboulet,
Right.
be prepared to spend upwards of $200 or more.
Okay, so it's an investment wine,
It is.
but I'm guessing the experience is worth every penny.
It can be.
Awesome.
especially if you appreciate those nuances
Right.
and complexities that develop over time.
Exactly. And speaking of the experience, let's talk about actually enjoying a bottle of Hermitage.
Yes.
You've got your bottle, you're ready to go.
Okay.
How do you make the most of it?
Temperature is key. For reds, you want to aim for around 60 to 65 degrees Fahrenheit,
Okay.
so slightly cooler than room temperature.
Gotcha.
For whites, chill them down a bit more between 50 and 55 degrees.
Okay.
Decanting is also a good idea,
Okay.
especially for younger Hermitage wines.
Okay.
Allows the wine to breathe,
Right.
helps to soften those tannins.
Decanting always seems so fancy.
It's easy,
Like something out of a movie.
and it makes a difference.
I'll trust you on that.
And of course, choose the proper wine glass. You want something with a wide bowl
Right.
to capture all those amazing aromas.
Right.
And then just take your time, savor each sip,
Right.
and appreciate that complexity and depth.
Sounds like a ritual I can get behind.
It is.
But I have a question. How does Hermitage kind of stack up against other wines
Okay.
from the Rhone Valley?
Okay.
Are there any similarities in style or flavor profile?
Well, that's where things get interesting,
Okay.
because Hermitage is considered the benchmark
Okay.
for Syrah,
Right.
really setting the standard
Gotcha.
for quality and intensity.
Okay.
It's known for its power, its structure, its ability to age gracefully.
Okay.
But there are other fantastic Syrah-based wines
Right.
in the Rhone Valley,
Yeah.
each with its own personality.
So it's like the Beyonce of Syrah,
Love that analogy.
the queen bee.
But there are other stars in the making.
Okay.
You've got Cornus,
Okay.
also in the Northern Rhone,
Yeah.
which produces wines that are similarly powerful,
Okay.
but maybe a little bit more rustic,
Okay.
like the earthier cousin.
I like it.
And then you have Côte-Rôtie,
Okay.
known for its elegant and floral Cyrus.
Okay.
So think of them as like the sophisticated sibling.
I like these comparisons.
Yes.
So even within the same regions, such a diverse expression of Syrah.
It is fascinating.
What about outside of France? Are there any other regions in the world
Oh, sure.
that can produce Syrah that can rival Hermitage?
Absolutely. Australia, for example,
Okay.
has emerged as a major player in the world of Syrah,
Oh.
or Shiraz, as they call it down under.
Right, right.
And regions like Barossa Valley and McLaren Vale
Yeah.
produce some incredible Shiraz wines known for their ripe fruit
Okay.
and bolder style.
So they're like the confident, outgoing cousin
Exactly.
of Hermitage.
Yeah,
A little bit more fruit forward and approachable.
more approachable.
It's a Syrah family reunion.
It is.
But let's get back to the experience of actually drinking Hermitage.
Okay.
You mentioned decanting, you mentioned temperature.
Yes.
What about food pairings?
Ah.
Are there any classic matches for Hermitage wines?
When pairing Hermitage Reds, you need to remember those powerful tannins
Right.
and the intense flavors.
Right.
You need dishes that can hold their own.
Okay.
So, grilled or roasted meats, game-strong cheeses are all excellent choices.
I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
I know, me too.
What would be your ideal Hermitage pairing?
If I had to choose, I'd go with a roasted leg of lamb
Okay.
with rosemary and garlic. The richness of the lamb and those herbaceous notes
Yeah.
would be a perfect match for the wine's dark fruit and spice.
Okay, that's going on the menu this week.
It should.
Lamb and Hermitage. It's a date, but can you surprise me?
Okay.
Any pairings that maybe aren't so obvious?
Believe it or not, Hermitage Reds can pair beautifully
Really?
with certain Asian cuisines.
Wow.
Think duck with orange sauce
Okay.
or even a spicy lamb curry.
Interesting.
The wine's peppery notes and full body can handle those bold flavors.
Wow. I never would thought of that combination.
It works.
But what about white Hermitage?
White Hermitage.
What kind of culinary companions would you recommend for those?
Well, White Hermitage is a bit more versatile.
Oh, okay.
It pairs beautifully with seafood,
Okay.
especially shellfish like oysters and lobster.
Okay.
Richer white meats like chicken or veal,
Okay.
especially with the creamy sauce, are also excellent choices.
Gotcha.
And don't forget cheese. A nutty Comté or a creamy brie would be delicious.
Okay. I need to plan a Hermitage-themed dinner party ASAP.
You do.
But before we get lost in our culinary dreams,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier,
Okay.
the heroic terroir.
Yes.
What are the biggest challenges?
Well, you've got those steep slopes,
Right.
which demand almost everything be done by hand.
Right.
So it's incredibly labor-intensive
That's
and costly.
Right.
And then there's the climate,
Yeah.
always a wild card.
Of course. Yeah.
You've got frost, hail, wind, all can threaten those delicate vines
Right.
and the entire harvest.
It sounds like a constant battle against the elements.
It can be.
But what about the soil? Didn't you say it was mostly granite and schist?
I did.
Isn't that good for drainage?
Well, yes, it is, but it also means that the soil is very poor in nutrients.
Okay.
So the vines really have to struggle to survive,
Right.
which ultimately produces those grapes with concentrated flavors.
Right.
But it also means naturally low yields,
Okay.
which contributes to the rarity and the high price.
So it's like a combination of factors that make it so unique, but also so challenging.
It is.
It's almost like a test of resilience.
Yes.
Not just for the vines, but also for the winemakers.
Exactly.
But beyond these practical challenges, are there any philosophical considerations that are shaping the winemaking in Hermitage?
Well, there's a profound sense of respect for tradition.
Okay.
These winemakers have been working this land for centuries,
Right.
carrying on the legacy.
Yeah.
Yet there's also this willingness to innovate,
Right.
to experiment while remaining true to the essence of Hermitage.
So finding that balance
It is.
of honoring the past and looking towards the future.
Exactly.
What would you say defines the spirit of Hermitage wine?
I'd say it's a blend of passion,
Okay.
resilience,
Yeah.
and a deep connection to the land.
Yeah.
The people who make Hermitage wines
Yeah.
are incredibly dedicated to their craft,
It's evident.
and they really believe they're creating something special.
Yeah. And it shows in the wines.
It did.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to talk about Hermitage's future.
Okay.
What trends and challenges do you see kind of shaping the region in the coming years?
Climate change, as you can imagine, is a big one.
Right, of course.
Producers are having to adapt
Yeah.
and really mitigate the effects of rising temperatures and unpredictable weather.
You mentioned sustainable practices earlier.
Oh, good.
What are some of the specific strategies
Cool.
that they're exploring?
Many are focusing on reducing water usage,
Okay.
implementing organic farming methods,
Okay.
and experimenting with different grape varieties
Right.
that might be better suited to a warmer climate.
Interesting.
It's really about thinking long-term
Right.
and making sure that Hermitage thrives for generations to come.
So being proactive and innovative
Yeah.
to safeguard the future of Hermitage.
Exactly.
What about the market?
Um,
Where do you see the demand for these wines heading?
I think the demand for high-quality, terroir-driven wines like Hermitage
Yeah.
is only going to increase. People want wines with a story,
Right.
wines that reflect the sense of place.
Yeah.
And Hermitage has that in spades.
It does. It sounds like Hermitage is in good hands and has a bright future ahead of it.
I think so, as long as the producers maintain their commitment to quality,
Right.
to sustainability and innovation.
Right.
Hermitage will remain a star in the world of wine.
I agree.
But it's more than just the wine.
Yeah.
It's the entire experience.
Right.
You've got the breathtaking scenery,
Yeah.
the rich culture, the gastronomy. It all comes together to
Yeah.
create something truly special.
Well, you've officially convinced me. I'm adding Hermitage to my travel bucket list.
You should.
Speaking of which, I'm ready to hear more about the region itself. Okay, so let's shift gears from the wine itself
Okay.
and talk about the Hermitage experience.
Yes.
Breathtaking scenery, rich culture, gastronomy.
It is.
It sounds like there's so much to discover beyond just the bottle.
There is.
So a trip to Hermitage is a pilgrimage
It is.
for wine lovers.
Especially for wine lovers.
So besides the obvious, visiting wineries,
Right.
what are some must-dos
Well,
in Hermitage?
You can't miss the town of Hermitage.
Okay.
It's right across the Rhone River from the hill,
Okay.
and it offers these stunning views of these iconic vineyards.
Right.
And it's a charming town with a great wine museum,
Oh, cool.
fantastic restaurants,
Nice.
and it makes a perfect base to explore the region.
Hermitage got it added to the itinerary.
Okay.
Now, are there any historical sites
Ah.
that, would give me a deeper appreciation of the region's winemaking history?
Well, you should definitely visit the Chapelle Saint-Christophe.
Okay.
It's this beautiful chapel that's perched atop Hermitage Hill,
Wow.
and it's been a pilgrimage site for centuries.
Okay.
And the views from there are just spectacular.
Nice.
Just imagine standing there,
Yeah.
surrounded by vineyards, feeling the weight of history.
Yeah.
It's truly special.
A chapel overlooking the vineyards. Talk about a picture-perfect moment.
It is.
But let's be honest, a trip to Hermitage
Yes.
is also about indulging
Yes.
in the local cuisine.
It is.
What are some culinary highlights that I should not miss?
Well, the Rhone Valley is a food lover's paradise.
Okay.
You have to try the classics like coq au vin,
Okay.
which is chicken braised in red wine,
Okay.
or daube provençale,
Okay.
which is a slow-cooked beef stew.
Right.
And, of course, no trip to France is complete without indulging in the cheese.
Of course not.
The Rhone Valley has some amazing ones like Picadon,
Okay.
which is a tangy goat cheese,
Okay.
and Saint-Marcelin,
Okay.
which is this soft, creamy cow's milk cheese.
Okay.
And for dessert,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with a tart tatin,
Right.
that upside-down apple tart with caramelized goodness.
My mouth is watering.
Yeah, mine too.
Wine, scenery, history, food.
Yes,
Hermitage has it all.
it does.
As you were kind of researching for this deep dive, what surprised you the most about Hermitage?
Honestly, it was the sense of community that struck me.
Okay.
Hermitage is a small appellation.
Right.
Everyone knows each other.
Right.
And there's this real spirit of collaboration,
Okay.
a shared passion
Mhm.
for creating these exceptional wines.
Yeah.
And they're deeply committed
Yeah.
to preserving, their heritage for future generations.
That's beautiful.
It is.
It's not just about the business.
Yeah.
It's about the love and respect for the land and tradition.
Exactly. And that's what makes Hermitage wines so special.
Right.
They're a reflection of the people,
Yeah.
the place, the history all woven together.
I think you've painted a pretty captivating picture
I tried.
of Hermitage for me, from the vines to the wines
Yes.
to the people that make it all happen.
It is.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up this deep dive?
Well, if you're looking for a wine that's truly unique and memorable,
Yeah,
I think Hermitage is an excellent choice.
I agree.
It's a region that offers this glimpse into the heart of French winemaking,
Yeah,
a place where passion and tradition collide.
I love that.
So whether you're planning a trip
Right?
or simply enjoying a bottle at home,
Yeah.
just take a moment to appreciate, the history, the artistry, the dedication that goes into every glass of Hermitage wine.
Beautifully said. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Well, I think we've covered it all: the history, the terroir, the winemaking, the people, the food, the future of Hermitage.
We did.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive and feel inspired to explore this incredible region
Yes.
and its wines. Thanks for joining us.